Act 2, which I am calling, I wish Star Trek wasn't so woke like it was back in the good old days. As Uhura attempts to interpret the Romulan signals, Styles sarcastically suggests that they give the job to Spock. And Kirk's like, come again, Lieutenant? Are you just saying that because Spock is a genius, or are you getting at something else? But on the bridge of the Romulan ship, the commander has noticed the Enterprise following them. He confers with one of the officers, the Centurion, on the ethics of their mission. We get the sense here that the older guys on the ship are kind of sick of this stuff. And then a younger man named Decius has been communicating with Romulan homeworld in violation of the orders for radio silence, to which the Romulan commander demotes him. And the Centurion has to remind him that Decius has powerful friends back home.
Yeah, demotes him on the spot and then sends him back to his post.
Why don't you go stand in the corner, kid? The commander quietly expresses distaste for his mission, but assures the Centurion of his devotion to his duty. In the Enterprise briefing room, the officers discuss their chances against a Romulan ship. Spock demonstrates the effect of the Romulan weapon on Outpost 4's protective shielding. He does this by basically picking up a hunk of shielding and crumbling it like it's chalk.
Yeah.
Mr. Scott reports that the Romulan ship powers simple impulse, which I don't believe at this point they really had the terminology worked out yet, because a ship under impulse power, as we understand it, wouldn't have been able to make it from the Romulan homeworld to this part of the neutral zone.
Yeah, those are sublight speeds, and it's going to take you forever, possibly multiple generations to get to where they were with just impulse power. Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe that's just an artifact of them not quite having things worked out yet as to what means what. I have seen where people have, like these Star Trek big brains have decided that simple impulse wasn't the speed they were propelled at, but rather the way they were generating energy. It's a much longer thing that I can get into or care to really read, because to me, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I just need the basics. Like, for me, as long as if you're saying impulse power is sublight and warp speed is obviously warp speed, then we're good here. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, that's as far as I need to take it. Styles urges an attack on the Romulan ship, arguing from history that running away would guarantee a war. Chris, you and I have seen a little bit what could have happened there, and we know for a fact that is the case.
Yeah, I actually struggled with whether or not Eric should have also watched the Strange New Worlds version of this episode. It might have caused a little bit of confusion.
I think, yeah, until you really know this one,
So there's another series that did the same episode.
But it was on purpose and for a good story reason, I feel like.
Yeah, Eric put it this: they do a parallel reality where a different captain goes through this situation.
Yep,
I would say it's just as good, if not equally as good, as this particular episode already is.
Yeah, agreed.
But is the other captain as calm, cool, and collected as Kirk was in the episode?
More so, I would say.
Yeah, it's just that they have two very different command styles. You'd have to watch some Strange New Worlds for some of that stuff to make sense, which is why I didn't really push you to watch it, even though I mentioned it in our show chat here.
Yeah. Now, surprisingly, Spock agrees with Styles and says that if these guys are an offshoot of his Vulcan blood, which he believes to be the case, they can't just let them go hanging out in space. They need to attack right away.
Which is an odd thing for Spock to say.
Yes, that he's not always like go out with the gun shooting kind of guy,
Yep.
I didn't quite understand. Was it really the Romulans who attacked Outpost 4?
Yes, it was.
So it was that ship.
It was that ship. They don't put it in this episode, and it's not really germane, I don't think, either way, but originally this was supposed to have been a starship plan that the Romulans stole from the Federation and then hooked up their plasma weapons and cloaking devices to. That's why it looks a little bit like a Federation ship. What they were supposed to be doing with this ship was flying out invisibly and then testing the defenses of these outpost stations. That was their command from the Romulan High Command or the Romulan Emperor or whoever it is.
So did the Romulan commander of the ship just, because it seemed like he didn't want to fight, it seemed like that he was going against what the Romulans were saying, and did he do that from the get-go? That's why I even questioned if they attacked Outpost 4.
Oh, yes, they did. He did not want to be doing what he was doing, but he was doing it because he was ordered to. Pretty clearly with him, I would say, try to get across the fact that he's tired of war.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been at war for 100 years, and he just doesn't see why. He even brings up, was it like another dead ship for the glory of the Empire or something, and you can just tell that he's like jaded, and he's old, and he's kind of past it all. But like he even says to the Centurion, he's like, yeah, it's not something I want to do, but I will follow my duty.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, until it comes to he's kind of wrestling with similar things that Kirk's wrestling with. Like, if I do A, then that'll cause a war. If I do B, then we'll probably get shot out of the sky.
Yep.
It kind of seems like a chess match between two equals.
Yep.
Yes. Very much so. And I believe one of the head writers on this episode, what he wanted was a captain who was like Kirk in almost every way. He was going to be as honorable, but as duty driven. He wanted him to be just an equal almost every step. And he also wanted this to seem like a Rome in space was the other thing he was going for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Kirk goes ahead and gives the order. They're going into red alert, and they're going to attack.